Hi, welcome to Deep Dive with Bennett Mullen. This show is primarily about covering issues of the last 100 years, 20th century. We're going to cover topics like the mRNA injections, what's going on in the world right now, and then we're going to go back and try to stick to the 20th century for kind of how we got here and just cover some fill-in-the-blank topics that people have been asking me about. All the links are in the description below. We're going to launch a website that includes all the resources as well. That way, if we get censored, you guys can still get the information. For now, everything is going to be on YouTube and Rumble, but I'll keep you updated. This specific episode is about the mRNA injections that they are trying to push on the population. Sorry about the intro, but I had to cut the beginning of the video off because of lighting and sound issues. So moving forward, hopefully that won't be an issue and it won't be as choppy. So bear with us and enjoy. So basically, your DNA is what tells your cells what to do, how to express, how to behave. It tells your cells will send messages through your body when they're damaged, when they need to change, when they need to be replaced. Your DNA will send the coding needed to do that. And the messenger or the signal that it sends that through is called RNA. And again, all the links to these articles are going to be in the description. You can get them. But fundamentally, the idea has been for a long time, decades, if we can hack or send in artificial synthetic messengers, then we can tell the cells to do whatever we want. And this has not always been touted as a vaccine, obviously, because it wasn't and isn't. But more importantly, it wasn't even really touted towards infections. It was originally, theorized that it could be used for almost anything. Because basically, like as he puts, putting a drug factory inside your body, fundamentally. So you need to think about the way that would look, because this company has been around for a long time, well over 10 years, and they've never produced a product before. In fact, we're going to look here where they got their money. And one of the major places they got their money is, as you can see here, DARPA, which is right here, is basically the Defense Department. The U.S. military funded them to do this work. They've never got to human trials on any of their messenger RNA therapies. And keeping in mind, they have been operating with millions and millions and millions of investment dollars, never produced a product, never got it approved. So the crunch was starting to happen in 2018, because imagine if you're working on altering the human genome or bringing something to market where you're going to convince people to have you put together various formulations of artificial synthetic messengers into their body to alter their cells. You're going to have a good reason. And they were running out of one, and they weren't getting human trials approved. One of the reasons they never got human testing approved is because of something called antibody-dependent enhancement. What that is, and a lot of the animals, if not all of them, got this, is you send a signal in to try and trigger a response in the body. And you actually make it so that that response gets worse. Dr. Fauci actually outlined that very, very well. And we can take a look at that if you'd like later in the video. But basically, most of the mammals die within a certain period of time when you start altering their genome, when you alter the messaging system. That's going to skew with everything inside of the body, which was a major problem that they had and why they couldn't get approval. Coincidentally, that doesn't apply. When you label a drug or a therapy a vaccine, it no longer has liability. And if you can create an emergency, you can usually bypass all of those tests altogether. So figuring out that we need to get this injection into as many people as possible, they turned to a man named Anthony Fauci. He was able to help redirect the attention and create an environment where you could get this to the maximum amount of people possible by picking something saying it treats something that's incredibly common, invisible, and under his control, which is infectious disease. So we're just going to take a look at a couple clips of how he revamps the way we look at RNA injections. So RNA being, we're going to reprogram the body to this, or we're going to reprogram the body to that. Now he's taking it from a different angle. He's deciding to say, what if we can do this for, say, viruses? Because once you use the word virus, just like HIV virus, it's become so unknown to people and so mysterious, even more than cancer. But you're going to watch the tactics, and you're watching a video from 2018. This was on TV, this was on C-SPAN. You're going to see a link in it below. So it's not anything weird, anything rare. It's not hard to find. You'll click it, watch it right from the C-SPAN website. But we're going to show you the clips that are specifically relevant to what we're talking about right now.
This is something that is 10 years in the making, not the 40, 50, 60 years that you said we were doing the same thing. The critical challenge, and it relates to one of the things that Peggy said, is that in order to make the transition from getting out of the tried and true egg growing, which we know gives us results that can be, beneficial. I mean, we've done well with that, to something that has to be much better. You have to prove that this works, and then you've got to go through all of the clinical trials, phase 1s, phase 2s, phase 3, and then show that this particular product is going to be good over a period of years. That alone, if it works perfectly, is going to take a decade.
So this is Anthony Fauci in 2018 hinting at using nanoparticles to simulate portions of a virus in your body. And that's going to take 10 years. It's going to take 10 years to bring this to market if everything goes well.
Creative thinkers. So in addition to doing what we're so good at, I think in parallel there might be a need or even an urgent call for an entity of excitement out there that's completely disruptive, that's not beholden to bureaucratic strings and processes.
So if we could have an excitable event that allows us to bypass bureaucratic red tape, what kind of event could we have that would help us to bypass bureaucratic red tape? I don't know. Let's see.
Technologies are out there. We haven't demonstrated their true effectiveness and ability for a vaccine, but it is not too crazy to think that an outbreak of a novel avian virus could occur in China somewhere. We could get the RNA sequence from that, beam it to a number of regional centers, if not local, if not even in your home at some point, and print those vaccines on a patch and self-administer. We're a ways out, but the technology is there to be adapted and assembled to put in that futuristic view of a rapid response to an emerging novel threat.
Well, that would work. That would work real good. You could have an avian flu outbreak. Well, that would help you bypass bureaucratic strings, especially if Dr. Fauci was appointed in charge of handling it, and his main goal is to get the whole world injected with mRNA, and the Defense Department's funding Moderna, who's currently working on RNA. In fact, Moderna stands for modified RNA. So now we see how we got here, but there's a little bit of a hiccup in that plan because people already were skeptical of the flu vaccine, and that was an actual vaccine. So how do you get everyone to do it? And how do you get everyone to say, oh, I'm not going to get vaccinated against things. I'm going to take a gene therapy. I'm going to modify my genetics so that my body is hopefully better to fight a virus. That's not going to work. But up until December, I believe December 20th, 2019, you couldn't call a gene therapy a vaccine. You couldn't call a synthetic liquid nanoparticle a vaccination. That wouldn't work. Now, since then, the CDC has tried to change their definition, but they've made it so wide now that technically vitamin C would count based on their definition. But legally, you can't call a gene therapy a vaccine. That is until December 2019. So we're going to take a quick look here at this article, because what we're seeing here is that weeks before they announced COVID-19, the government actually changed the law in section 605 of a budget bill, I believe on the 20th of December. They changed the law to allow synthetic, well, we'll just take a look at it actually. There it is. So section 605 of the December 20th budget bill, the last budget bill of the year, section 351 of the Public Health Services Act is amended by striking, so there was a specific sentence that did not allow you to call this a vaccine. And they struck that quietly, without anyone noticing, except any chemically synthesized polypeptide. Chemically synthesized polypeptide. So that means what Pfizer was working on would have to have been called a gene therapy until this law. Well, we know that the COVID outbreak came from Wuhan, China in 2019, despite the fact that we didn't hear about it till 2020. So in 2019, a virus spreads around the world, originating from a town that is working on an identical synthetic virus to the one that is spread around the world. And the US government, right before the end of the year, changes the law to allow Moderna's work, their genetic therapy, to be called a vaccine. Now, if you combine that with the 2017 speech that Fauci did directly before Trump got put in office, it's kind of interesting. Except any chemically synthesized polypeptide. So what do we do with that? Well, let's go back to before Fauci had that meeting, before Fauci did that television show about avian flu viruses breaking out of China. Let's just look at what he had to say in 2017, right before Trump took office.
Thought I would bring that perspective to the topic today is the issue of pandemic preparedness. And if there's one message that I want to leave with you today based on my experience, and you'll see that in a moment, is that there is no question that there will be a challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases, both chronic infectious diseases in the sense of already ongoing disease, and we have certainly a large burden of that, but also there will be a surprise outbreak. And I hope by the end of my relatively short presentation, you will understand why history, the history of the last 32 years that I've been the director of NIAID, will tell the next administration that there's no doubt in anyone's mind that they will be faced with the challenges that their predecessors were faced with.
Now, we're going to make a little bit of a shift here because I've been talking about Moderna, and most people, when they think of this injection, they think of Pfizer. The problem is Pfizer, being one of the most powerful drug companies in the world, we're not on top of this mRNA technology. In fact, they were quite a bit behind the mRNA technology. And so while Fauci was working with Moderna and the US military was working with Moderna, Pfizer was kind of left out. And when this broke out, Pfizer had to play catch up. So that's why Pfizer seems so disorganized. Their marketing is strong, their global push is strong, but you'll notice it's very hectic. And that's because in March 2020, they partnered with a company that was working in Europe on mRNA genetic modification called BioNTech. And so they invested hundreds of millions of dollars into BioNTech for this partnership. The question is, how did they know to get in on that? Well, it's pretty simple. The former director of the FDA is on Pfizer's board as of 2019. So he knows everything that's getting brought up, emergency use suggestions. He's close with Fauci. It's all linked and it's all put together. So when you see Fauci saying it takes 10 years to get a mRNA injection approved because it's completely new technology that's never been tried on humans, and you'd have to show 10 years of safety to get that done. How did he get an emergency use authorization through the FDA? How did Pfizer get their stuff sort of passed, not passed, sort of passed, all through the FDA? Because the majority of the people that get to high levels of FDA leave and go work at these companies, specifically Pfizer. And so, how are we supposed to trust the safety of a new gene therapy when it's being forced upon us and the people that are supposed to be responsible for safety are financially tied to the company that it's making the money off of it? Well, we're not. And so we have to start looking into that safety stuff for ourselves. One doctor that's taken this very seriously is Dr. Richard Fleming. And Dr. Richard Fleming has been keeping on top of this. He's been running experiments, trying to keep people up to date on what's going on. He's put out a video. I've seen a lot of his videos, but this video is very direct, and it's an experiment that he's been asking other scientists to do because it's not very hard to do. So we're just going to take a quick look at that while we work our way through this.
I wanted to go over some very important information on the SARS-CoV-2 drug vaccines by taking a microscopic examination of really what the Pfizer vaccine does when it comes into contact with red blood cells or a person's blood, and the concerns that I've had with these. The investigation that you're going to see was a combined project between Dr. Kevin McCarran, PhD, neurobiologist in Japan, originally from the UK, and myself. And we did this in the last several days, actually. One of the slides that I like to share with people is that the difference between a PhD, MD, JD is that PhDs actually figure out problems while MDs treat them, and JDs typically cause them. And this presentation, we believe, will have all three effects.
So I don't know if you noticed that, but he is a PhD, MD, and JD. But we're going to look at the experiment he did, just a bit of it. The videos, again, are links are in below. You can look at these. We're trying to grace through. It's a long video anyways, so I'm not trying to make it any longer on you. But I do want to show you this here.
2/3 of the image is just simply the red blood cells being shown with their oxygen carrying capacity. So red blood cells move with the addition of saline. They're biconcave. They're carrying oxygen, no different than what we saw with just simply the blood by itself with the addition of saline. You can see the, as we come into focus here, you can see the Pfizer vaccine causing some movement of the red blood cells, and we're scanning around here to show you other areas where the vaccine's not. You can see how thick and rich the blood is. But as we get over into the area where the Pfizer vaccine has been added, you can see the cells not only are thinning out, but they're losing some of the red color. Now, again, that red color is because of oxygen and hemoglobin. And you can see now cells beginning to float together, and they are beginning to clump as you see them floating through the bloodstream, so not, or through the Pfizer vaccine. And this shows the loss of either the oxygen or the hemoglobin being pulled out, and the clumping now, this inflammation and blood clotting that's occurring with red blood cells just simply with the addition of the vaccine. And this only took a minute or two to really be seen. You can see here a much more pronounced area. This is an area that you can see the complete loss of red color after another minute, and you can see the movement of the red blood cells there, but they're not so red anymore. They have lost their oxygen carrying capacity, so that this blood floating through a human being after the injection of the Pfizer vaccine will have a significant reduced ability to carry the life-saving oxygen from the lungs to the body. And in the next slide, we're going to look at what that appears. We're going to play this video. This is what happens under a higher magnification. So we're looking at 40 times before, and this is 100 times. And you can now see, as we're moving around, these are red, and you can see a very nice droplet effect there from the Pfizer vaccine. You can contrast that to the red blood cells that have not been touched by the vaccine that are surrounding this entire area where the vaccine is. And you can see the movement of the red blood cells even inside that Pfizer droplet. And just the sheer lack of red showing that the cells have lost their oxygen, either the oxygen or the hemoglobin has been damaged simply by dropping the Pfizer vaccine on the slide of red blood cells.
Now, his hypothesis is quality control problems. And this is from BMJ. This is actually part of the British Medical Association. So this website, this news organization is actually where British medical journal studies, papers are put together. This is not usually a site that highlights these kind of things, but this is directly related to what we're looking at. This is directly related to medical studies. So we're going to take a quick look at it, and you're going to see that a lady who worked at Ventavia Research Group, which was one of the primary contractors for Pfizer in their phase 3 trial was just overwhelmed. Like, she's supposed to check her quality control, and she found so many that it just wasn't even feasible. She said nothing was being safe. They weren't following any standard procedures. That the janitor could see the paperwork for people. You'll notice here she says that everybody knew who was in the study and who wasn't. People that got sick were kicked out of the studies. She even went on to say that she emailed her findings to the FDA right away. Right to the FDA, past her managers, and she was let go that afternoon. Now, later in the article, and you can read this article yourself, but yeah, later in the article, it highlights that only 9 of the 153 trial sites were inspected, and none of the sites that her company was working with were inspected. So we have a company that's making billions of dollars off selling us gene therapy that's been rushed to market. And I want you to keep in mind that if they were producing a dose per second of synthetic liquid nanoparticles, by the way, it's not a dose of salt water. From when they said they were starting to make this, they would be at less than a third of the doses they claim to have injected into people. So that means they have to make 3 per second to get the doses that they claim they've given out. Just as a reference point, we want to put that out there. But she said that none of the protocols are being followed. So nothing. It's just being whipped together, and only positive reports are being sent back to Pfizer, and the FDA isn't checking on this. The other safety feature that we're really interested in right now is if you understand how they claim this injection works, is that it goes into your body and it's supposed to stay near a muscle area and only tell the cells in that area to produce the dangerous part of what they call the SARS-CoV-2, which is that spike protein. And that's the part that cleaves onto the cell. So remember, they're claiming that this synthetic nanoparticle is manipulating your body into producing the dangerous part of the virus. And that hopes that your body will detect that dangerous part without the rest of the virus, learn how to fight it, then if you come into contact with the real virus, your body will know how to fight the spike protein. That's the logic. However, every person who's ever worked on mRNA technology would tell you, if you try to do that, and that injection gets into the bloodstream or travels away from the injection site at all, it's going to start creating spike proteins in your soft tissue, in your lung tissue, in your heart tissue, in your brain. But they claim that won't happen because the injection will not leave the site. The problem is, we know that it does. So we're looking at an PDF document here where study verifies, and there's a lot of articles you can get out of Japan too, where they found that the spike protein traveled right away. But you'll see the highlighted section right here. In fact, I'll make it bigger for you. That the biodistribution laser is similar to the influenza virus, where the virus could be measured outside of the primary site of inoculation after 5 days. The reason this is important, and this is just a basic version of that, the reason this is important is in a regular vaccination, you're taking an attenuated or weakened virus and putting it in the body. So if it doesn't stay at the right spot, your body might get a little sicker than normal because it goes, oh, I'm really fighting this. But it fights it because it's just a virus like it would have encountered anyways, but weaker. Not a synthetic spike protein being made in soft tissue. And no one's talking about the fact that this injection is affecting people's T cells. T cells are what you use to fight cancer. So, no one even seems to care. Like when we look at right here, an interview early on from Dr. David Bauer, who's in charge of actually following the advancement of this injection. And if we just watch what he says, you'll clearly see that he's completely comfortable with the elimination of T cells.
Tell me what your name is and what it is that you do.
I'm Dr. David Bauer. I'm head of the RNA virus replication laboratory here at the Francis Crick Institute in London.
Perfect. So that's Bauer, B-A-U-E-R.
B-A-U-E-R.
Perfect. Tell me, you've been looking into the vaccines and how effective they are against this prominent variant in the UK at the moment. What have you found out? What does it show?
So the key message from our finding is that we found that recipients of the Pfizer vaccine, those who've had 2 doses, have about 5 to 6-fold lower amounts of neutralizing antibodies. Now these are the sort of gold standard private security antibodies of your immune system, which block the virus from getting into your cells in the first place. And so we found that that's less for people with 2 doses. We've also found that for people with only 1 dose of the Pfizer jab, that they are less likely to have high levels of these antibodies in their blood. And perhaps most importantly for all of us going forward is that we see that the older you are, the lower your levels are likely to be, and the time since you've had your second jab, as that time goes on, the lower your levels are also likely to be. So that's telling us that we're probably going to be needing to prioritize boosters for older and more vulnerable people coming up soon, especially if this new variant spreads.
And on the research, how long did it take to get together? How long was this process to get where you are now with these results?
So one of the things that the Crick can do really, really well is bring together people from lots of different disciplines. So I'm a virologist, I'm working with immunologists, and all the way down to statisticians and database programmers so that
That's a virologist. Listen to the experts. Just do what they say. A man who admits you're getting rid of your body's ability to fight disease, and he's fine with that. You should listen to him because he's more important than you are. I'm going to do a really, really quick clip here because we talked about antibody-dependent enhancement earlier, where that's what most of the animals would die from, and Fauci words it better than me, so we're just going to quickly go with what Fauci said, okay?
Does the vaccine make you worse? And there are diseases in which you vaccinate someone, they get infected with what you're trying to protect them with, and you actually enhance the infection. You can get a good feel for that in animal models. So that's going to be interspersed at the same time that we're testing. We're going to try and make sure we don't have enhancement. It's the worst possible thing you could do is vaccinate somebody to prevent infection and actually make them worse.
Countless doctors and virologists came out saying you cannot, even if it was a regular vaccine, vaccinate for a virus during a pandemic because you will create antibody-dependent enhancement. So your body overreacts to specific viruses or traits. So when you encounter it again, poof, basically death. Sickness, just everything. Everything's enhanced. And he knew it. He said that was a concern with this. And it takes more than a couple months to actually know if that's going to happen. But remember, they found out in 2020, by 2021, they were pumping these things out. So now we're getting to the good part. This is the part that's really starting to wake people up. And that's kids. They're coming for the kids now. An unvaccinated child is at less risk of serious COVID illness than a vaccinated 70-year-old. Well, they don't like that chart, do they? Or don't they? I don't know. This is the question I ask people. Why, even if they know this to be true, and then they're going to force you to vaccinate your child anyway, why tell you? Why not lie? Why do they tell you that the vaccinated account for more infections, as they call it, yet they've never made a test for that, but that's a different video, than the unvaccinated? Yet if you don't have a vaccine, you're at risk. And they claim that the people that are injected are just as likely to transmit the virus as people that are not injected. They don't deny that one bit. You think they deny it when they say, if you're not injected, you're putting other people at risk. That's an opinion. You'll notice the facts, they just put them right there. The fact is, if you're injected, you are just as or more likely to transmit the virus. They don't deny that. But on the opinion side, they'll just say, if you're not injected, you're putting people at risk. But you believe them. They say an unvaccinated child is just as safe as someone who's been injected. They don't get sick. The only cases they have of kids dying with what they claim is COVID for kids that were already morbid, dying, sick. Comorbidity does not mean core sickness. It means a thing that would be classified as deadly. That's a morbidity. Yet here we are, looking at giving it to kids. And for what reason? To find out. We can watch this clip right here. You can just listen to it. It's really quick. But the FDA voted to emergency use authorize children to get injected with a gene therapy that we have no information on, that the tests as we've seen are not clean, that there's been no human studies on, and that we can't even prove has any value to us. But this guy explains himself very well here.
But we're never going to learn about how safe the vaccine is unless we start giving it. That's just the way it goes.
How are we going to know if we don't give it to the kids? You got to give it to them, and that's how you'll know. But Pfizer altered the recipe. Kept the liquid nanoparticles, but they added, instead of saline to deliver as the liquid, they added a drug that's used only while a person's having a heart attack. This article again in the link below. But this drug that they put in to give to people while they're having a heart attack is now the delivery system for the kids' injections. Now your first thought would be, well, a lot of kids, I think the number is a young boy is 4 times more likely to be hospitalized from the injection than they are from catching coronavirus, if we're still calling it that. But most of the thing they suffer from is heart attacks, myocarditis, heart problems. So you might assume that they're putting this in there to help with that. To kind of counter the fact that this drug is causing heart attacks. But what's weird is, if you look up this drug on its own, the instructions clearly say it must be injected into a vein. You can't put it into muscle tissue. I think it causes necrosis or something, it damages the muscle. But if you look at the instructions for the vaccine or the injection, it must be injected into a muscle and not into a vein. Because if you get it into a vein, you're going to send those messenger RNAs to the brain, to the heart, and now you're going to start getting spike proteins in your brain, in your heart, and whatever else is in there. I didn't have time to include the graphene that's in there, or the German doctor that specializes in that specific graphene metals, who died after putting out a video about how these graphene particles are about the size of one atom, and they're basically like atom-sized razor blades. But we're just going to leave it at kids are 4 times more likely to get hospitalized from the injection. They are not at risk. But we're one step towards forcing kids to be injected. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Sorry about all the cuts. We're going to put a new system in place. But at least the information's there. Again, everything's down below. And we are this weekend working on the website so that we can put this stuff in a more organized manner. As the YouTubers say, you can click subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and you'll get to know every time we launch one of these. And have a great day.